North Carolina just turned it on in the second half, Carter. I'm very impressed with what I saw from the Tar Heels. I'm equally as impressed with their second half as I am freaking out underwhelmed about their first half. I don't know what's up with this team. And if you look through their results from the first 4 games, they do this a lot. Like they're in a dogfight with a team for 16 to 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden the second half, they just pour it on. Is that, dare I say, Cart, dare I say, is that some Hubert halftime adjustments going on here or no? What's going on here?
No, and honestly, I'm looking at Hubert right now because there should be no world where this Northern Iowa basketball team is out rebounding you or out hustling you or being able to honestly score at will in that first half on you. And yes, they made the second half adjustments. They were able to get it going. The second half was very impressive. Where was that the first half though? Like that, it's just I can't shake or look away from the first half just because the second half was so damn good. Like that to me is a red flag. I think defensively, any team that's playing this North Carolina team, they would be able to do what they want. Like, what would the potential matchup be if Michigan and UNC like went out? Would the matchup be in the championship game of the Battle for Atlantis?
I don't remember what the bracket is, to be completely honest with you.
Well,
I think, yeah, it would be in the final.
Okay, I'll put a hypothetical where Michigan plays UNC. I think that Michigan offense would absolutely torch UNC defensively. I think they got bad closeout principles. I think they don't rotate well enough. I just don't think they have that many great defensive guys like at any position on the floor, maybe outside of Harrison Ingram. Cormac's a pretty good defender too. I'll give him credit. But yeah, I just don't think this team is that good defensively. And I was very high on the Tar Heels coming into the season. I still feel good about them as a team, but that first half scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it should. Definitely scary, I think, right? Like it just I look up and down this roster and I don't trust anybody. Is that crazy to say? Like I know you know what you're expecting from Armando Bacot and RJ Davis, and those guys are good players. We know that. I think Harrison Ingram's a good player. We know that. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody on this team, including Mondo and RJ. And I know that's a little harsh, but that's my gut feel when you go up and down these guys. Like, do I want to go to war with these guys? Do I trust them to show up? Do I trust them to be 110% effort guys? I don't. I just don't. And there's some guys I don't trust as players. Like I don't think Cormac Ryan's that good. He's not making shots the way he should. He was 3 for 8 today, but like I don't think he's that good. I think Paxton Wojcik basically can't play. The bench is very unimpressive to me as far as like the big men go. I know Elliot Cadeau, everyone loves. He was awesome in the second half, and maybe that's what takes this team to a new ceiling. But there's not a guy I trust on this roster. Am I wrong for saying that?
No, I don't think you're wrong for saying that because there's not a guy that I trust on this roster either. And I love Mondo and I love RJ Davis as players, but you just can't trust them, I don't think. And it's a scary proposition, I think, for this team because when you don't have players that you trust, you can always lean on like I trust the coach. Like we just talked about in our other segment, like Kansas has issues. But like also I trust Bill Self. I'll always trust Bill Self. And there's also coaches you can trust. Unfortunately, right now, with the way his coaching career has gone and where it is currently, you cannot trust Hubert Davis. He has to earn that trust. And it's gonna take performances and a little bit of longevity and something like put together to trust him as a coach. And granted, like you said, maybe he made halftime adjustments, and that should have you feeling good and trusting him about making adjustments. But he made adjustments against Northern Iowa. There shouldn't have been any adjustments. The fact that adjustments had to be made at halftime, that's unacceptable. Coming into this game, Northern Iowa had one win, and it wasn't against a Division I opponent. Like they're just not. That's not a good basketball team. They should be able to win that. Like the second half should have happened in the first half.
Yeah, it was a miracle cover. I was on North Carolina as my first play of the day to cover -11.5. I wrote the preview for Action Network.
You deserve that after the hooks you've been hit with.
That's what I'm saying is I'm convinced this season I feel better about my bets if I'm down like 30 points off the line at half than I do if I'm like up. Like I just expect things are going to fall apart if I'm up. Things are going to work themselves out if I'm not. I wrote the preview for Action Network, and the main takeaway was that Northern Iowa was really bad. And I do truly believe that. And I think the scariest part of this performance for North Carolina to me is I believe that the only reason Northern Iowa looked good in this game is because North Carolina basically let them get a bunch of confidence early. Like it was such a no-show, and Northern Iowa was getting uncontested looks to the point. Like it wasn't like Northern Iowa stepped up and was making great plays. They were getting easy things because Carolina just no-showed. And I think when you do this, when you think about Carolina the rest of the season, if this is their habit to just no-show at the start of games, they're going to do that to better teams that are just going to beat them. Northern Iowa was not good enough to beat them. There's a lot of teams who would have beat them if they were playing North Carolina today. And last thing I would just add from a Carolina perspective, I don't necessarily think the game turned because of anything Hubert did or because of even like effort intensity stuff. I don't think it was that much better in the second half, even though the scoreboard was crazy. I think they just made a bunch of threes. And that almost is like just to put an asterisk on it. Like, yeah, they looked great in the second half. Did they look great because everything changed and the effort was better and all that? Or did they look good because a bunch of shots just went in?
Yeah. They gave up 70 points in Northern Iowa.
69.
Nice. But yeah, that's just like I would love to pull out my trusty old I would love to talk to insert teams fans here. AKA I'm going to text Riley. There's no way you just feel good about that as far as like what's going to what's going to happen the rest of the season.
Yeah. I asked Riley, hey, are you available to do an emergency recap after this game? This was when Carolina was down like 8. He said, not available, going to be driving. Fire Hubert, though. My goodness, this is embarrassing. So apparently that's where Carolina fans are right now. Also, shout out Riley Davis. Big day for him. It's the, I think, 15-year anniversary of the Creed halftime performance at the Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving game. So
take me higher.
I know it's a really, really big day for Riley Davis. Also, on that note, worst segue I've ever done. Just want to say this. Can Elliot Cadeau take them higher, Cart? Can he do that?
Yeah. Play him.
I don't think he can. I'm not seeing it with Cadeau. Talk me into Cadeau.
Okay, well, who would you rather play? Okay, I got 2 stat lines for you. First stat line, 0, 1, 0. Next stat line. Oh, it's also on 0 shot attempts and attempts from 3-point line as well. Next stat line, 15 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 for 3 from the 3-point line, 5 for 9 from the field. Which one would you rather have?
The one that's Elliot Cadeau.
Exactly. The one that's not Seth Trimble.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what you want? You just want him getting more minutes off the bench?
Or why? No, that Seth Trimble started this game.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Jesus. What?
That's what. So they bench Wojcik in this game. They bench Paxson, and they put in Seth Trimble.
That's crazy.
Like I feel like Hubert's overthinking this a little bit. Just play Cadeau. Even though Cadeau, I will say, he defensively was having some struggle moments, but that was more so because he was checking taller players like for some reason. Like he was checking threes and things like that. Yeah, I just don't understand why Cadeau is not this team's starting point guard. It doesn't he should be.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Are they trying to just like keep stuff on RJ Davis's plate and not take away from that? But we think in theory Cadeau should make RJ Davis better. I just the reason I'm still holding strong that I'm kind of like quote out on Cadeau is I thought in the first half Northern Iowa just didn't guard him and he couldn't make him pay. And I know he did in the second half to the tune of his best game yet. He finished with 15 points and 3 assists. That's awesome. He didn't play a ton of minutes in this game either. So like that is pretty impressive production for a guy coming off the bench. This is his first double-digit scoring game of his season. He has 5 assists total in the last 3 games. Is that generational passery? 5 assists in 3 games?
I just got to play him. I'm telling you, just play the man. Start that man and play him starter minutes and just see what happens.
All right. I'm willing to say, like, I think it would upgrade. You got to give it a try, but I'm just I don't see like obvious like almost I don't know. I don't know why I would compare him to this person, but it's like Dalton Connect was like a wild card, and then he showed up, and it's like that's a superstar. Cadeau's not ready for that, right? Like even if he gets a starting role, isn't he like the fifth best player on this team?
I think there's a world where he's like the fourth or third.
Okay, I don't think he's better than Harrison Ingram.
Harrison Ingram's
Gotta be
good.
fourth.
Harrison Ingram's good. Also, not to tie this back to Kansas, but like there's three different players on this North Carolina team that I think Kansas would have rather had than Nick Timberlake in the portal.
Yeah, you're very right. It's absolutely true. All right. Well, congrats to North Carolina. Thanks, North Carolina, for an impressive cover for me. I really needed that. They have Tennessee next, Cart, coming into Chapel Hill. Speaking of Dalton Connect, good luck with that one.
Yeah, really. If they couldn't check Bowen Bourne and Jacob Hudson, I'd love to see what it looks like when they got to check Dalton Connect.